Only a genius can solve these riddles in under 10 minutes. Riddles can be extremely hard to solve. Some need a genius to be solved. We know this game is quite tough as it requires you to think out of the box and most of the time critically. However, it is a good game to exercise your brain. It flexes the muscles inside your head, improving your brain function. Before we go any further, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more mind-blowing videos. Without further ado, we've listed some riddles that only a genius can solve under 10 minutes. An investigator and the Mills brothers. On a sunny afternoon, the investigator was taking some rest under the shade of a sycamore tree. Weariness consumed him that he fell asleep. Suddenly, somebody threw a stone at his head. The impact was so powerful that it left him with a sore head. In an attempt to see who threw the stone, he rose and saw 4 young boys running away from him. They were brothers with the names Richard Mills, Larry Mills, Mark Mills, and Henry Mills. The next day, he checked his mailbox and found a letter that was associated with the incident. It said, "Mills. He is responsible for what happened to you." It struck in his mind and he knew which kid to ask. Who threw the stone? The young kid who threw at him was Mark. As you may observe, it is the question mark sign or the question mark that unveiled the truth. It was to say, Mills. He is responsible for what happened to you. Matthew's dead girlfriend. One night, Matthew and his girlfriend had a very rough fight, but he did not choose to prolong the argument, so he apologized and decided to have a good sleep. Unbeknownst to her, he was still wrathful that he immediately killed the innocent woman by smothering her with a pillow. Matthew's body was violently shaking and he did not know what to do. He thought that leaving her beside the river would be the best move, so he took his girlfriend's dead body there. Afraid to be caught, he drove the car as fast as he could. A few hours later, he received a message from the police. They said that his girlfriend had been found dead and demanded that he had to be there right away. He arrived and was arrested as he had been found guilty. How was that? Matthew wasn't informed of the particular location. However, he came to the exact place with no delay. Jennifer's stolen diamond earrings. Jennifer dialed the police to be at her home as soon as possible due to the reason that her diamond earrings, as she believed, were stolen. She was furious when the officers informed her that there were no signs of a thief breaking in her house. The house was completely fine except for the window in her room as it was shattered. Everything inside the house was out of their rightful places and footprints were printed on the floor. A few minutes later, the officers went back to arrest her because of fraudulence. Why? After investigating, the officers were very keen that Jennifer was lying because the window was shattered from the inside as the broken pieces were found outside her house. If it had been from the outside, there would have been remnants in her room too, but there was none. The chemistry teacher. A chemistry teacher was murdered inside the school lab. No evidence who killed her, but he jotted down the names of 3 chemical substances on a piece of paper: nickel, carbon, and oxygen. Detectives and police officers entered the room and couldn't help but wonder what it was trying to convey. They asked the school principal for the list of science teachers who entered the room as well. And these were Sebastian, Tristan, Nico, and Jake. They immediately found out who the murderer was. How did they know that? If you listened well to your chemistry class, you wouldn't be thinking long. The symbol of nickel is Ni, carbon is C, and oxygen is O. If you combine the three symbols, you'll get a name Ni, C, and O, which means Nico was the murderer. The stranger inside the car. It was almost midnight when the couple was driving so swiftly through an unfamiliar town. A sudden, they ran out of gas, so they had to find a gas station to continue. Luckily, they found one. His husband did go there to buy, so he locked his wife inside the car to secure her as he had no other choice. Upon returning, he saw that the car was still in the same condition, meaning his wife was still safe. However, as he opened the door, he saw his wife not breathing anymore. Blood was all over the seat and there was no one responsible for her death, but the stranger inside the car. What happened there? His wife was pregnant and in labor. They were rushing to the hospital when they ran out of gas. So, when the man was in the gasoline station, she gave birth but didn't survive. No one killed her. You'll be dead in 10 minutes. 12:20 p.m. Inside the cafeteria, George and Ben were talking to each other. George said that Ben would be stabbed by someone in the back at exactly 12:30. Frightened Ben couldn't help but stare at the clock. The clock struck and it was time. Ben turned around to face the door and he was dead. Was George a psychic? No, he tricked Ben. At the time he turned around, George stabbed him. The Shattered Man. A man was found dead on a concrete road. There was no building or any heavy things around him, but his limbs were broken and his head was violently separated into parts. The only thing around him was his bag. How did he die? He was a skydiver and the bag next to him was the parachute. He was not able to release it due to technical issues. The Killer. A serial killer kidnapped people daily. He always gave a chance by offering them 2 pills. One of the pills was poisonous and the other one was safe. If the victims picked the safe one, they will be given a chance to escape. However, there was no single victim who survived. They were all dead. How is that? The 2 pills were not poisonous. It was a glass of water with a mixture of dangerous chemicals. A teacher, a murderer. The first day of school and the English teacher was found dead in her room. Police officers suspected 4 people who had done the crime. They were a technology teacher, a gardener, and even the principal. The technology teacher said he was busy doing a mid-year test inside the computer lab. The gardener said he was in the garden watering the plants. And the principal said he had an urgent meeting. After hearing their reasons, the police officers were able to detect which person was lying. The technology teacher was arrested. It was the first day of school, yet there he was doing his mid-year test. A friend or a foe? Madison and Jones decided to go to the United Kingdom. The day Jones went back to their country, Madison wasn't with her as he had been murdered. After dialing the travel agent, where both of them booked the trip, Jones was arrested for murder. How did it happen? The travel agent spilled the reality that he had only booked a one-way ticket for his friend. So, did those riddles stump you? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. We are interested to know. Don't forget to hit the like button below, click subscribe, and turn on the notifications for more videos.